The story of a people is told best by those who live it out daily. And when the history of that community is informative, inspirational, and insightful, it should then be shared with the world. The Clio Exchange does that.
Unfortunately, when she was 14, which we were singing at this time.
Okay.
Well, let me just finish this.
Okay.
At the talent show, we made the vow that we would start singing together if someone wanted to have a group. And sure enough, someone asked her to join this group.
Mm-hmm.
And it was three guys called the Primes, and two of the guys went on to become two members of the Temptations. That was Paul Williams and Eddie Kendricks, and there was another guy, Cal Osborne, who was in the group.
Weren't they related, Paul and Eddie?
No,
No,
they were
weren't.
not.
Okay.
They were not. But anyway, so they wanted a girl group with them, and Florence knew them somehow or another. So she said, "Well, my new best friend, Mary, she's really." And now, let me tell you this: we're only 12 years old. I'm making it sound like we're older. We were only 12 years old. So, and then the guy said, well, one of the other guys had gone across the street from where we lived and asked Diane. I guess he knew Diane. So it was all through people knowing each other.
Right.
And so we went to this rehearsal, and that's when we really became friends with Diane at that point, because prior to that, we were not friends. And there was another girl, Betty McGlon, who I think was dating one of the guys, something like that.
Okay.
So she was the fourth member of the Primettes. That's how we started singing.
You had four?
Yes, we were four. We had a quartet.
Okay.
Great harmony.
Okay.
So
And
that's
then-
really how we started singing.
Wonderful. And so you guys became the Supremes.
Yeah, and they became
The Primes became the Temptations.
Two members of the Primes became two members of the Temptations.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And there was another lady that filled in at one point too.
Well,
Was it,
after Betty
Mar-
McGlon got married, she was a little older, and
Oh,
so she
okay.
had to leave the group. And we got another young lady, Barbara Martin, whom I'm still friends with, by the way. And Barbara got out of the group when we became the Supremes, so she stayed a couple of years as well.
Okay.
It was at this time we said, you know what? It doesn't seem like anybody's going to stand here but the three of us. Let's just make it a trio, which was
okay.
great in one sense, but the other sense was our harmony was never as good as it was when it was four of us. Because
I was going to ask you about the
well,
sound.
with harmony, you got to have one, two, not you got to, but you have all those parts in there. And then with one person singing the lead, that only leaves two parts.
That's right. Yeah, four part is always.
Yeah, right. So it was much better. So we always hated that. But anyway, that's the origin of the Primate Supremes.
How about that? Now, were you modeling yourselves after someone? I would imagine that during that period when all the groups were forming,
Yes.
they had to be very competitive. And so I would think you were looking at others to.
Well, I don't think anyone starts in a void. I mean, I think you're always influenced by other people and whatever, and surely, we were as well. Groups like the Chantels, the Shirelles, were, the people that we emulated.
Okay.
Yes.
Was Martha moving along at this time?
Martha Reeves of the Vandellas,
Right.
and the Vandellas actually, we worked along in the same areas, and this was before we became famous. We all did like record hops in Detroit.
Right. I've
For
heard
your
stories
listeners,
about
do
those.
they know about record hops? Well, that was before the discos and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes.
Explain the record hop, just in case. Just in case.
Well, I always like to explain it by saying if they remember Fonzie on
Happy
the
Days.
Happy Days,
Yeah.
it's that kind of environment where the guys were real cool and the guys wore the leather jackets, and in those days the black guys had the processed hair, they wore the little scarf around there. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. You got good hair, so you know.
Well, listen, hasn't always been that way.
But anyway, the DJs would have their weekend shows, and they would invite artists like ourselves, local artists, to come on and sing, and then they would have maybe a famous recording star come in, and then the young teenagers would come to that dance, and it was called a record hop.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
girls wore the poodle skirts,
Right.
Oxford shoes and all that stuff.
A lot of dancing.
All dancing, and there was no alcohol. And I was thinking about this the other day, because we were all underage.
What'd you have, Polly Pop?
Who knows? In Detroit it was Verner's.
That's right. Verner's.
Verner's ginger ale.
That's
But
right.
I was thinking about that the other day, how we would go to these dances. I mean, they were Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, the dances were all over the city. And you'd go, at 6, 7 o'clock, I don't know, in the evening, and stay until 10 or 11, and there was no alcohol.
No drugs,
No
none of
drugs,
that.
none of that.
About that. And had a ball.
Just dancing.
Yeah.
Just dancing music,
Right.